everyone, and welcome to a very special daytime episode of the Nerdy Up North podcast. It's a nerdy podcast and it's hosted by Northern Nerds. I am one of your hosts, Sam.
I'm not even going to be a host here. I'm just a fan. I am in my element, so yes. So I'm very happy today. As Sam pointed out, we are going to try and do this a few more times going forward as well, because I know we've got the main episode that we do every Sunday, but it would be nice just to throw in an odd review, odd chat, just to kill some time and just have a bit of a laugh. It's been a while since me and Sam's done this together now.
It's been a long time. Like this is a hostful episode today. Yes. And Paul has got his wish. His wish came true. He's finally talking about the Goonies.
Yes. It's one of them things. Like say, I try to play fair and let the group decide and stuff like that, but the group kept on letting us down, even though for some reason they voted the Goonies the favourite film of the Nerdy Up North community for this year, but still won't let us review it. So yes.
So he decided, do you know what? I actually run this show, so I'm going to do it anyway.
Yes, but like I say, Sam will get a choice as well. But Sam's getting her wish. The next big review we do with a few people will be doing The Exorcist. So we're going to go all spooky and scary soon. Sam's going to not wear makeup and come as Reagan.
Stresses me so. You know what? I think I'm a bit of a... oh, no, I didn't. I was trying to think, did I have this T-shirt on Sunday? I didn't. It's okay. It's okay. But I thought I'd wear my next review T-shirt just so everyone knows that The Exorcist won. I actually got my way.
Yes. To be fair, like I say, Sam gets away more than anyone else, so that's fine.
Very true.
Very true.
It is very true. So I'm going to get the crap bit out of the way with and just do the disclaimer, and then we're going to crack in with why Paul loves the Goonies. That's what the episode's called today. Why Paul loves the Goonies.
Why not? How can you not love what is perfection?
So everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone, especially Paul's. If you want to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us in our Facebook group and we can have an open discussion. What we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can agree to disagree in fandom, so keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of nerdism.
To be fair, we don't need a disclaimer for this episode, because if anyone thinks the Goonies is crap, jog on.
They can get out. They can get out.
They get in the seat. And I am going to with it being a daytime episode as well, I am going to try and make a concerted effort to watch my language and try and behave myself a little bit. So please do feel free in the chat to tell us off every time I do swear. But I will try and think. But I am very excited. I'm a little bit nervous as well, because I have bigged this up quite a much and portrayed myself as I'm not going to say a Goonie fan, as an actual Goonie. So we'll go from the start.
You've just put yourself in that group. Yes. I was there.
I was a Goonie. If you look in the background, I was there waving with my pizza box and everything, yes. So start us off now. This movie came out in 1985. Yes, we are that old. And I can remember watching this as a kid. I know we've basically touched on it in previous episodes many moons ago on why I love this movie and the meanings by it, but for me this is how I grew up. This is what I did. I was sat in front of the TV watching the 80s movies, and I destroyed every VHS I had of the Goonies because it was just had to be on overall. I was always I was amazed when I did watch the DVD version when it finally came out in DVD and found out how much of the Goonies was actually cut out in the TV. There's a lot of things that you don't expect, and when you hear say Chunks swear for the first time, it blows your mind, and you think Goonies don't swear. That's nothing, but there is a lot of banned language in the Goonies, which again surprises you quite a lot. But yes, I am like a Goonie till I die, even though Goonies don't say it, never say die. But yes, so Sam, before I start gushing and running away with it here, how did you get introduced to the Goonies? Were you an early one or were you a late bloomer?
Oh, no, definitely an early one. I can't say when I saw it. To know it came out in 1985 blows me mind, though. That's the year Ant was born. My God. No, it's just always been there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't pinpoint of when I saw it, but Goonies and anything to do with like children having adventures, like Stand By Me, and I'm trying to think of other ones and I can't, but I would take that into my real life and force my friends into doing stuff that that you would expect like the Goonies to do. Because I wanted to live that life. Like it looks so much fun. I've always in my life had a big group of friends, and I've always forced them to do stuff they didn't want. And my nickname is absolutely apt mind. I am Mouth. I can talk a glass eye to sleep. I have random stupid facts, and Mouth has some of the best lines in the Goonies, which I probably will quote at some point during this thing.
That was the thing, though. It is one of the quotable movies of this time. Well, like say, if you look back at all the 80s films, they all had big things, but sound bites like from Data saying $50 bill, like say Hey You Guys from Sloth, the Truffle Shuffle, which again, if I'm feeling brave, you might say it later.
They are saying that if you swear, you've got to do it.
Right? So. Is that the penance?
That's the penance. Yeah. Right. If you swear, you've got to do the Truffle Shuffle.
Right.
The best one is the one that got cut from ITV all the time. Is It's a Stiff. By Chunk, and I lost my mind when I finally heard, because ITV used to cut that to shreds. Like they really cut and edited that so badly. So when you watch it on like VHS or on DVD, it was mind blowing to hear Chunk shouting, "It's a Stiff."
There always was that type of humour with the Goonies as well. As a lot with the 80s films, they always did put the stuff in for the adults, which they don't do as much these days. I think that might be like quite the appeal, because there's the commentary or the jokes for the kids, there's the jokes for the adults, and there's jokes for the teenagers. So it really was what they classed as a family film. It was like little winks and nods where, like, see, your mum and dad would have laughed where you were going, "What you're laughing at?" And it just didn't make sense.
And you'd be like, and then you start laughing along with them, and you're like, "I don't know what I'm laughing at. Like, I don't get it." It is one of these films that when you go back as an adult, you realize how much you didn't get.
Yes. And
you didn't get most of the jokes, but as an adult, you're like, "Holy shit!" Oh, that's all. I didn't have that.
No, it's fine. You don't have to do the Truffle Shuffle, but that would be interesting.
Thank God.
But yeah, like say the elements in there, like as you said, it's adventure, there's friendships, there's like say, even like the imagination, and like one point I wanted to start on as well is the cast. Now, if you look back at who's in this and who was involved with this, I know, like say, the director was Richard Donner, which. Again, how many perfect 80s films or even 90s films did he make? Steven Spielberg wrote the story, so it was a Spielberg film in essence, and you can tell because it's got his fingerprints all over this movie. If you're ever going to think like elements of Indiana Jones and aspects, like all that is in this film. And we got the ultimate adventurer, Sean Astin, who later went on and saved the show and helped, like say,
he's my hero.
Helped save Middle Earth.
He did, single-handedly.
Carried Frodo all the way. And
he literally did.
And we got the ultimate bad guy in the Marvel Universe, Josh Brolin, who was Cable and Thanos, as a very young, like say, Brandon in this one. But and you go back through of like 80s players as well, like. The guy who, I'm trying to think of the actor now, I'll try and pronounce it, Ke Huy Quan, who played Data. Absolutely mesmerising, like in Indiana Jones as well, as Short Round. Corey Feldman of, like, say, of 80s fame. Like, how many 80s films was he in?
You can't have an 80s children's film without Corey Feldman being in it. I think that's just rule of thumb. I don't think you can. I don't think it works without him. He really does bring such a feel to what he does. He was just so good at what he did.
Definitely. And I think with this as well, it still has a legacy in a lot of the what we get today. Like, we wouldn't have Stranger Things if it wasn't for the Goonies.
Not at all.
We wouldn't have, like, say, that type of camaraderie, and it's interesting to see, like, because I know we're probably going to do a Stranger Things episode later down the line.
Definitely.
So I don't want to go too in depth, but to see, like, that friendship group grow, and it would have been interesting to see, like, I know we only got the one film, and please do not give us a second or a remake, because it just
doesn't need it.
Even though I wouldn't mind more stories of the Goonies, that's one of the things I probably did miss as a kid. I would have wanted to see what happened next, like more tales, or even a prequel to say like how they become friends and stuff.
Yeah,
that would be really interesting.
Back then would have been interesting, but yes. I'm not interested in knowing what a 50-odd-year-old mouth's doing right now. Like, because I think it'll be really sad. Mm-hmm. Like, I think our illusions will be completely broken. Mm-hmm. But there was something I was going to. We're talking about cast. My favorite character in this is actually Martha Plimpton.
Right.
I absolutely
big 80s star. She was in quite a lot of things.
I absolutely adore Martha Plimpton so much. Mm-hmm. I've got a newfound love for her when she did Raising Hope.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely love her, and she plays Steph, doesn't she? Is that her name?
Yes, Steph in the
yeah. And she was edgy, and she was cocky, and she was confident, and I absolutely love Martha Plimpton's character. Is one of my favorites, especially if I'm identifying girl wise. Mm-hmm. Like, she was absolutely, and it's lovely that we have a group of boys, but you also had elements of girls in there. You had your girly girl, who she was kind of hard, like
as Andy.
I think this is like her only credit as well. I don't believe she did any more films after this.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It was Curry Green, wasn't it? I'm trying to think of her name. I know it was Curry. I think, let's have a look. Curry Green. I don't know what she did afterwards. But
I don't think she did anything. I think this is her only credit. And if this is your only credit on your resume, like, you've done really well.
Yeah.
But Martha Plimpton, I love her. I love her so much, and I love her in this film. Like, even when the last time I watched it was last year,
right?
And I hadn't watched it in years, and I was like proper, like, big smile on my face. I could not take it off. It's like, it is one of those films that
it hits you with nostalgia. Like, yes. It's like, it's not just like, say, tapping you on the shoulder. It hits you with a baseball bat in the face.
Like what you were saying about Stranger Things is the reason we probably love it more than what we do is because of the nostalgia aspect to it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
I just love it.
Yes.
I do.
But, like, say, as you said with the cast, like, I think what's in Martha Plimpton, I loved her in Parenthood with Steve Martin and Keanu Reeves in that as well, and a young Joaquin Phoenix, wasn't it?
It was. He played Gary. Yeah. He's very unrecognizable. Really unrecognizable. The only way you can hear him is it's when he gets angry that you can hear Joaquin Phoenix, but other than that, just to look at him, you would not know that's Joaquin Phoenix.
No, definitely. And like I say, when you go through as well, as soon as you think about the Goonies, I know we had a playing at the start, the Cyndi Lauper track just instantly comes in, and Sam got to enjoy me singing and dancing along. Well, that wasn't in line. So it's
I've never seen him so excited before an episode. Mm-hmm. This one really is like his golden child.
But I know I've told this story many a times, and I love telling it over and over again. And I'll continue telling it just because I think it's quite relevant and poignant to what we did and how we got this started as well. Because, to be honest, if there wasn't any Goonies, there wouldn't be a Nerdy Up North.
That's very true.
I know I joke about it a lot, but I know, like I say, I think I've talked about it in previous episodes on the podcast. If it wasn't for Judy Randall posting, like, say, a Facebook post of introducing two kids, a little boy, Niall and Martha.
Niall, who we've had on the show as well, on the wrestling episode, Niall came and joined us.
Yes, and she basically held off showing them the Goonies, thinking it might be a little bit too scary, because there was elements that, like I say, it was quite scary for kids. Like, I remember being scared as a child, but she watched it with them and what she did as well, not just sat there. She bought Niall a Superman t-shirt, so he kind of, we're getting a Superman t-shirt for the Goonies, but all that was to be revealed, and photographed their reactions, had them, like, when they were hiding, like, doing the scary bits, like Martha was hiding behind a pillow, and then when Sloth ripped his shirt off and revealed his Superman t-shirt. He was jumping up with excitement because he shared the same shirt as him, and just seeing that joy that film brought to like say the two little ones, and they got to experience that. It was almost like they were watching the Goonies for the first time. That just made like, I thought, this needs to be shared. This conversation, people aren't having these type of conversations as much these days. I know we used to do it when we were in the pub, but this was during lockdown when we couldn't get into the pub, and you don't realise, like, even like something as small as the Goonies could bring friendships or initiate conversation that you don't realise. And someone that you might not have anything in common with, like look-wise, you could be completely opposite, and you can talk about the Goonies, and you can both smile and have the same conversation and go back to that place, and that's magical. And I wish I could bottle it, because I would fucking sell it. Oh, there's one. Sorry.
One. Oh, he did it. I said 10 minutes at the beginning of the show. I said it'll take you 10 minutes. No, but you're absolutely right. Like, look at what from you having that experience. Look at what it's brought us. Like, I didn't, up until last year, I didn't know Charlotte or Jake or Donna existed.
Or Laura the Pop Queen.
Yes, or Laura or Kelly. I knew Grant. Kev. Like, I just, it amazes us that the Goonies has brought us to where we are. Like, we've known each other for 20-something years.
Too long.
Too fucking long. But we didn't really speak to each other. I mean, I know your wife, your good lady wife. I've been friends with her for years, but it's not like we spoke to each other.
No.
Random comments on Facebook, and that was about it.
No, I can't.
Now I cannot get rid of you.
But yeah, it's just, I would say, universally loved. That's probably the best way I can describe it, and it's just so much fun. That's, like I say, from, like as you said, the quotable bits, the comedy elements, the friendship elements, even when they get angry at each other, it's still friends. And like I say, everything about it is just kind of like pure.
Yeah. I've just had an idea. Why don't we start from the beginning and talk about each section until we get to the end?
Okay, we'll try. You've only got. You've got the 3 o'clock, so.
We can do it until 3. It's not really that long of a film, but I just think if you're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. Let's go from beginning to end. Let's talk about the best and good parts of the film in its runtime.
No, like I say, it's clever the way it starts as well. Like say, when you see you hear the jail when they're in the jail, and the officers
it's
going
that music.
Yep. Yeah, and the officer saying, "Oh, come get your food," or "You don't want to eat," and stuff like that, and you see everyone leaving, and it starts like with quite a horrific picture. Like say, especially for a young child, seeing a grown man hanging in a cell is not what you would expect like a kid's adventure film to start with, but it's cleverly done with a note that says, if you thought to who it may concern, I believe it says at the front, if you think I'm stupid enough to kill myself, then he looks up and you see him smiling. I don't know how much was in the original like TV cut. I think
probably wasn't. It's ITV. They wouldn't even say a stiff. Yeah. So probably not. It's the breakout of the Vitelli. Am I saying that right? Vitelli brothers. Or brother, because one of them's already out, and the other one is him. Oh well, gosh, have you got the cast list up there?
There was Joe Pantoliano that played Francis.
Francis,
and Robert Davini who played Jake.
The guy who plays Francis has, again, one of the best quotes in, and when we get to that point, I'll probably do it. But he is also in The Matrix, like he's in also. He's in one of my favourite films, The Fugitive, that I discovered last year.
I think Joe Pantoliano, like he's one of them proverbial characters that's always around. Like you'll know his face from any film.
It's his voice.
Yes,
it's that voice.
Mm-hmm. But and the amazing Anne Ramsey as Mama Fratelli, again, she gives so much to a simple role, and for an older lady that was playing that role, she is terrifying. Who
had cancer while she was doing that film.
Right.
She was really, really poorly with cancer, and there's like they were told. I've watched so many interviews. about her because she's so fascinating. Like for all she played this mean, horrible woman, she was like she made sure she was the nicest she possibly could be to every single kid. She hated the idea that they were scared of her.
Yeah.
She's just a lovely, lovely woman, but she was poorly while she was doing that film. But it does not show in the slightest.
No, definitely not. But this is where the film shows its intelligence as well, because a lot of films of this type of ilk kind of try and gives each kid a backstory, or so that you find out more. But in the getaway scene with a car going through, like say the Goondocks, basically, you get introduced to each member of the Goonies in a way, and they do it in a way where you kind of get a taste of the character. Like you get Andy doing the cheerleading, you get Steph doing something with a crab in a bucket, and Data's doing the double O negative thing where he's shooting his little thing and he's getting pulled across the street. Almost
and the bin. I love the noise that makes as well. I've got a thing about noises, and that one is where it hits it and his feet shuffle across the floor, but it's like a squeak. I love that noise.
He chunks it in the. Was it Domino's or Pizza Hut?
It was in some fast food restaurant because he goes up against the window and like his pizza's like sliding.
and
oh my god!
And he gets the back pressed up against the window because he's just the most, like say, the type of person he is. He has to know everything and has to be in everything, and he's like. He's me mum on the window when anyone walks past the street. I don't know if anyone else's mum say.
And my father-in-law is notorious for it.
So anyone walks up the street, she's at the window going, "Oh, where's he going?" Just want to be in everyone's business, and that was Chunk. And that was like say the first time.
You want your mum and dad to watch this.
But that was the first end of say when they had the first edits, because I think on the TV they had Chunk saying "damn," but in the actual proper one he said the S word. And then we got introduced to Mouth, who was helping his dad do the plumbing.
It was the plumbing, that was it, and then he ends up getting squirted in the face. Mint.
And then you get to the house where Mikey and Brand's sitting in, and I always got mesmerised as well because what I used to love as a kid, especially say when it comes to toys or artifacts, is when I saw something in a movie that I had. So
I love feelings like that.
So when Mikey's in the room and he's got his little inhaler, you see this light up skull. I had that, and I had it for Halloween one year working around, so I was excited to see that. That's why I thought I could have been in the Goonies, because I had the same things as Mikey had, and Brandon.
That makes sense.
And Brand's doing the whole press ups on the workbench, and Mike tries to show his strength. But that's one of the things I loved about the dynamics between the Goonies, because it did feel like a proper brother. Because not all brothers are lovely and saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this for my brother." It was kind of they were a bit arsehole-ish to each other as well. So.
They were dickish to each other. But you are right. It is an incredible way to introduce characters with no dialogue, just music going on. While you've got simultaneously, you've got a car, like a police car chase happening, while you're getting introduced to your main cast. And you get a feel for them straight away. You know who them people are. We don't have to do a full half an hour of dialogue to find out who these people are. It is I didn't even think of it that way. That's really clever.
And say, it's one of them things that when you watch as a kid you don't really understand. You just think, "Hey, this is
fun."
Oh
god, no.
And when you watch it as an adult, you kind of get it a bit more. You get, that's really, really clever writing.
Really clever.
And again, when you think about the people that are involved, you're like, yeah, it makes complete sense why this was happening. And then we get to the plot point, Mikey's kind of scared about losing, his friendships, losing, the house he's grown up in. And we all go through that type of fear when, change. And when you move, I was one of the kids who did move a few times, from not from city to city, but different parts of Sunderland. So, but going to a different school, it is quite daunting and making new friends, especially if you've got friends as close as this. And as you said, when I grew up in a if people of the podcast are familiar with Sunderland, I grew up in a place called Ryop, which is a little old mining village, and it's covered by, like, say, farmers' fields, and there's like deans and stuff like that. So when we were kids, we used to go looking for rich stuff at One-Eyed Willie's treasure and stuff in the deans.
Yes.
Obviously not the most safest places to go.
Oh no, I'm exactly the same. I come from Shiny Row, which is it's within, well, Killer will always tell us it's within Sunderland, but even though it has DH postcode, but that's another story. But mine again is a mining village. It's not exactly covered with fields, but it is covered with old coal mines that got shut down in the 70s and 80s. And where my mum lives right now used to be a huge field, and at the back of it was the coal pit, and there was nobody there.
Yes. And then
and that's what we did.
There's a few times I used to get shot at by the farmer when they used to use a salt and pepper gun at you as well. So if you ever got hit by them, they did knock. I nearly swore again. So, but yes,
you're doing well.
But I can say that sense of adventure, like, say, as a kid, you kind of grow out of it a little bit, and you kind of wish you still had that element to yourself.
Always.
Always
wish I had that, like, magic spark that I used to, like, the imagination that I used to have as a kid, because I feel like I could write like book after book if I had the imagination I had as a child.
Oh, definitely. Jake's just asking the chat if we ever found anything on these adventures, but no, I found a few swings and a burnt out cars, but that was about it. Sorry, Jake.
I'm from Shiny, so condoms, we use condoms. I know, like, we had, like, the mining pit was literally, like, it was just coal upon coal, of hills of coal and that. But we also have what's called the gill. That is I want to say a stream, but I'm saying it in the loosest sense possible because it's probably just toxic waste ground. And we had
a sewage plant or something.
Well, we've got Northumbria water, like, right next to us, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was. But yeah, we had the gill, and that runs right the way through Shiny, and like, this is why I had no issue in taking the vaccine. I've drank out of that before. I've fallen in that many times before. And so I have no, like, but didn't really find any. It was just rubbish, mate. Just a lot of rubbish.
True.
But in my head, I found all sorts.
Yes. No, that was the thing. It wasn't about what you found. It was about going on the adventure to find it. That was always the fun element. And that's what this film is, basically, in essence. It's not about finding the treasure, which they end up doing. It's about the adventure they go on. But this is when, like I say, the film starts getting a bit interesting, as well as when you start getting the interaction between the characters. Because then you hear the doorbell go, and it's not a doorbell, it's a knock on the door, and they go down the stairs, and that's when we're introduced to Mouth fully, like Corey Feldman's character, and we find out why his character is going to be one of our favourite characters throughout this movie, because he is so quotable. And like his interaction with Brand as well, when he's on the chair, when he's talking about saying we should have been cruising the coast, going down the road, but no, someone had to go and fail his driving test and blow it all, and you see him take a swing from him as well, and, like, say, misses.
But wouldn't you think in that moment, in that time, that they were brothers?
Yes. But that's the thing. It was kind of like all of them were family.
Like, Bran was like the big brother of them all. But in that very moment, you could tell that Mike and Mouth were best friends. Yes. Like, out of all the group, they two were the bestest of friends. And that's why I always thought Bran came across as very big brotherish in that moment. And how, like, they're relying on him to, like, pass his driving test when he should have his own friends to take away, not his kid brothers.
To be fair, though, if I had friends like that, I would still want to kick about them, because, like I say, the other adults in that seemed to be like proper douchebags as well. It was a proper, like, posh area, shall we say. But we'll come to that in a little bit later. And then we get one of the most memorable scenes as well, just before the most memorable scene, is when we hear the door going, and they're sitting there, and Chunk's trying to get in. And it gets spacey and alarmed, and Mouse get, just do it. And for everyone watching, I do apologise, I am going to do it. So, and he goes, there, you got the truffle shuffle, guys.
Well done. That's going to be on TikTok later. Well done.
So, yes.
I'm going to wait for the chat to blow up in a second. It's not just the truffle shuffle. It's the moment afterwards with the gadget to open the gate. How many mouse traps did you set up to try and do that?
But when you think about it, when you watch it back now, it makes absolutely no sense.
Walk down and open the gate.
Yeah, but it was kind of like one and done type thing where, like, say, you set the bowling ball off. Like, say, you're not going to have many more bowling balls to open a gate.
No.
You also, like, say, you've got to refit a balloon. So that can't just be replaced.
The chicken's never always going to lay an egg all the time.
Yep, that confused the hell out of me. So you just have to go up and scare a chicken for it to get an egg there. But
Donna's cheering you on. So is Jake. Yay! You pleased the crowd. Goodwill better still be here, you mind.
If he misses out, he misses out. Like I said, it's a one-time thing. That's not getting repeated.
We are playing Ghost tomorrow night. We might be able to talk you into that. But no, that scene is... The truffle shuffle it's special. It's hilarious. Like, kids watching it, you're like, yeah.
I did read that it was meant to be ad-libbed as well.
Yeah.
That it wasn't planned. It was something that it kind of wasn't meant to happen that way.
No.
But it just, like, it's a strange one because poor Chunk, he is being bullied. And we all kind of bullied him because we cheered along. But by the end of it, we are cheering with him. So
yeah, I've never with Chunk. I never laughed at him. I was laughing with him. His funniness was his charm.
Yeah,
and that's what I absolutely loved about him. I'm not someone who I'm not someone who looks at a size and finds it like a way to poke fun at them. He was to me just an ordinary kid. Who used his funniness as like almost a defense mechanism, but it worked in his favor. Loved it. I'm just looking for something. I just want to make sure I'm not making this up, but there is Josh Gad did a reunion.
Yes.
With the Goonies, and a lot of that was mentioned on there about the fact that Truffle Shuffle was ad-libbed. I mean, the guy who played Chunk is like a massive Hollywood attorney now. Like,
yeah, Jeff Cohen, I think. Yeah, but he was the one that they basically sent down all the press tours, because his personality on the movie was his personality in real life as well.
It's no different when you're watching the reunite thing. He is no different than Chunk was as a kid. If you want to know what Chunk did as an adult, he became a Hollywood attorney. That's what he did, because he is absolutely the same person.
Yeah, but it's just like that, all them different elements. And then, as you said, from that we led into Data's big entrance. Zip lined in.
Did it.
And he's got double O negative. He's got no. Don't double O negative, and you can see he's taken it to heart as well, bless him. And then not over the Michelangelo statue,
which never got shown on ITV.
But I always got confused as well, because like when I watched it as a kid, there was loads of bits all over the floor. I was like, why is there loads of bits? It didn't smash. Then you realise it was the crisp.
It's the crisps.
Yeah. I was like, oh, Chunk, you dumbass.
My OCD in me just wants to go up and pick all them crisps up. And I hate the fact that I can see them. But as the characters come in, you then get introduced to his mama.
Yes. And
his mama is Mary Trainor. Is it Mary Trainor? Who was the wife of Robert Zemeckis.
Oh.
And the Hollywood thing is the only reason that she ever got work for, because she always played little small time parts, was because she was the wife of Robert Zemeckis.
Oh, all right, because she was in Lethal Weapon as well, wasn't she?
Anything to do with Robert Zemeckis and his friends, she was a part of. And Richard Donner and Steven Spielberg, very good friends of his. It was a Hollywood thing that she only ever got work because of who her husband was. And it's so sad because she is such a good mom. Like, she was so good in this.
Yes.
Like, she had this level of anxiety about her that I can totally understand as an adult, but was annoyed by as a child.
And the interaction with the kids as well, when like she's called Chunk by his proper name, saying you better clean up that mess, and he's like calling Brandon, he's it's Brand Mom,
and it's the fact that she can't speak properly either.
No.
She stutters quite a bit through our words, and then she just ends up, it's the but clean it up, boys. But the maid as well. Oh my gosh, who's the maid? The one who mouthed. Now, this is another bit that ITV like to cut out. They didn't like to show you what Mouth was actually saying to the maid while he was speaking Spanish to her.
No, that was the thing that was cut out on TV, and when you saw it on DVD, you were like, holy
holy moly!
What he was saying about
the
first bit was about hiding, have the marijuana in the top, the heroin in the second, and the cocaine in the end drug. Remember to separate your drugs, and then when you were in the loft, it was basically that's where the sex dungeon is. You're not to go in there. Only the naughty people go up there. Something like that. But that's like I said, and I was like, where the hell has this come from?
Yeah, I know. I was like, I remember watching it for the first time. That wasn't on telly, and I was absolutely blown. I was like, what? Heroin and marijuana? But her face, though, it's just so funny. I know the actress. I don't know if you know her. She passed away not long ago, actually. She was. If anyone loves the movie Selena, like I do, with Jennifer Lopez, she played the woman who killed her, and I can't think of her name at the moment. But she was a hell of an actress.
Right. No, but it was just her, as you said, her reactions to Mouth, and he never overplays it as well, because you would expect like a kid to be laughing away, but he like keeps a serious face, but they never really kind of like. That's just the end of that joke. You're thinking though, while you're watching the ITV version, he is actually repeating back what the mum's saying. And so when you see the actual words of what he's saying, brilliant, absolutely genius. I think the ITV one used to say speaks in Spanish. That's all they used to say, speaks in Spanish.
You learn Spanish and you'll know what he's saying.
But yes. And then you get the immortal line saying, oh, you clutch, you put it up the wrong way. That's my mom's favourite piece. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't. Let's get you in it. You'd be pissing. We'd be all pissing in each other's faces if you did it that way.
But after we've been introduced to the whole gang, mom, maid, we then get introduced to what would potentially be the bad guy of the film. Is it Roy's dad? Troy's dad.
Not quite yet, because they're going to the loft. They're going to the loft first, I believe. Because then
they're going afterwards.
I'm not sure, because I'm could be around about the time. Yeah, we do get
somewhere in the time frame of them going in the loft. You do get introduced to Troy's dad, because that's where the adventure starts. Is after they find out that the house is on foreclosure, it's going to be ripped down, and that's where they get the idea that maybe One-Eyed Willie's
good stuff,
treasure is real,
the rich stuff. But when they go in the loft as well, and they're playing with all the stuff, because find out,
Paul, someone's already clipped this.
I'm not fussed. That's fine. Revenge. I'll always get revenge as well.
I think it's brilliant. Sorry.
But what, like the aspect when they go into the loft, that's when you find out his father's like a museum curator, and they start telling about the interest, and then you hear about like Chester Cobblepot, and
what a name!
Chester Cobblepot.
What a name! I love that name.
There was a rumor, and again, I don't know if it was just like fan made, that they were thinking about a different person that was going to be instead of Chester Cobblepot, but that they was going to have Indy.
The minute you said the dad being an art, like a museum curator, I was thinking in my head, imagine if him and Indiana Jones were friends. And I was like, no, because Indiana Jones is like from the 50s, isn't it? It's set in the 40s and 50s. So, I mean, he still could be alive.
I probably was going to say him in the next one that's coming out around about this time period. But because it was supposed to be a long time ago that Chester Cobblepot did go missing. But I heard a rumor that they were trying to do Indiana Jones as the explorer that went missing.
Oh.
That was going to be so. Technically,
crossover.
If they did that, the Goonies and Indiana Jones would have been in the same universe.
I think we are anyway because it's Spielberg.
Possibly.
I think Spielberg has a lot of his writings are meshed up like Stephen King does. Stephen King's works are all within the same universe. I think Steven Spielberg's exactly the same. So I do believe at some point who's to say the Goonies aren't in the new Indiana Jones film?
True, that would be awesome. But one thing I did, because I'm one of those side people, like I love the Goonies that much, I did watch the commentary version when it first came out.
That is not sad, my friend. That is just good watching.
And the cast really, and like all the stuff that the director and like Richard Donner used to scream at them all the way through. This is the first point that, like, I'll probably spoil the film for most people now. You'll notice it when they were doing certain scenes, like looking at things or looking through telescopes or looking at maps. He kept on screaming, "Bigger eyes!" So all you see is them at the same time go, like looking and the eyes opening up at the same time, like having the eyes of wonderment. So that was supposed to be the big direction that Richard Donner kept on giving the kids: make your eyes bigger. So when you watch it again, you'll notice like Chunk and like Mikey, like Sean Astin, and like Mouth eyes just constantly getting wider and like in awe and stuff when they're reading and things. But this is probably one of the first parts of the Goonie that did actually get us a little bit scared when they're in the loft. Because it's so unpredictable. Like there's so much stuff in there. I don't have a loft, or I did. It had a Christmas tree in it. You know what I mean? There's like there's nothing in there. It was spooky because you didn't know what was going to happen. Yes, and then you heard the music, and they got like say Chunk to smash the map, which was done brilliantly. Like say just by holding it and having Mikey count down to how long it was going to take for him to smash it, and then.
It's like you were swearing. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes. I'm not going to play your dirty little games. But yes. And then, like say, when they all gather around the map after hey, it's all in Spanish. Mouth, translate this, and you hear the words. I've got it up in front of us because again, I just love how it sounds as well. It's.
Can you do it in his voice?
I'll do my best. Ye intruders beware, crushing death and grief, soaked with blood of the trespassing thief.
Wow!
But
that was amazing. That really sounded like him.
But yeah, when you listen it back, when you're watching it there, you do get like chills.
I got chills there. That was class.
Because you actually think you could, oh crap, if they do go on this adventure, it's going to be like say quite dangerous. Because.
But you're just thinking to yourself also, would they really go on this adventure? Like, are they that daft? Would they do it?
But that's where the film kind of like forks out. Like say, it's two different ways it could have went. Like again, this is why I love it. It's because it's got the childhood imagination where if adults found that, they would have just went,
okay,
go the round, try and pay the bills, can't pay the bills, foreclose, move on to the different town. That's the sensible approach.
But these kids.
But these kids, they had the childhood wonderment and think, right, we've got a treasure map, we've got evidence, potentially we could do this. And this is where it kind of, like, when I look at it now, it amazes me because, in theory, when you look at the group, Brand should be the leader because he's the older brother, he's like the biggest, he's the most knowledgeable, but he's not because Mikey is, and not because he's the smarter one, not because he's the bigger one, because he's the dreamer.
Yeah,
he has that dream, and he goes, right, this is what we could do. And fair enough, at the start, they're just basically playing along. It's to the others, it's just a game.
Yeah, it's not taken seriously. Like Mikey knows in his head this is what he wants to do. So there's no one's going to stop him. And that tactical move he does on Bran to get him tied to that chair was genius.
Yes, the whole cheesy part of like pretending they're talking. It's like, you can tell they're not saying a single word to each other. And it's just like, this is what we're going to do. And then you tie him up. And then even Mikey gets upset when Mouth starts letting down his ties. He's like, he had to do 461 what was it?
Lawnmowers.
Lawnmowers to buy the thing. It's his favourite thing in the world. And he's getting the first thing in the world. As again, mouth being the smart ass he is.
Sorry, that line is brilliant. The timing on it is absolutely great. Then you get Cyndi Lauper's Good Enough playing on in the background as they're riding through the street, which is something that I did countless amount of times on my BMX as a kid.
Yes. And I always wanted one with the flag on as well. I don't know why the flag was there.
The flag.
But it looked cool. Like I say, I don't think it would be very comfortable if you ever fell off or hit it. But I think, as I said, with the flag, it always had that like kind of look. And they've done the overhead shot of them again riding through the town, and you see then you get introduced to Mr. Walsh as going, "Hi kids," as he's putting out the flag for at the museum, and that's when the adventure starts. But the hilarity still continues when his mum and Rosalita comes back, and you see him tied to the thing, and the mum's just sitting there telling them off for being tied up, and Rosalita's just like, "Oh God, what have I got myself into?" Dropping all the things and kicking the things across the floor.
Because now you realise what Mouth's actually told her is right in front of her.
And you never got that as a kid, really?
No, you didn't. You didn't quite understand it. But, oh, yes, that scene when his mum comes in and Rosalita's face.
Rosalita, I'm not going to try and do the accent because I don't want to be going to them realms. But
oh, no. Let's not offend.
Yes. But absolutely brilliant. Like, see, that's when, like, as you said, the adventure starts. They start following the map. Like I said, they can count the paces and they're using the key where the two rocks meet. And you think, this could be something in it, this could be there, and you can see the belief is growing in Mikey as well.
That scene right there makes me think of home. When you're looking out to this, like, it's the fields, it's the coldness. Like, we live in the northeast of England. It's freezing here. Like, it's so cold. It's even chucking it down now. But if you just imagine being like in a field somewhere, you can feel that vibe. You see like an old shack or a hut, you get that vibe, and especially that we live on the coast as well. Like, I don't know, it felt like home.
And then when they go into the diner, like, that's when it got scary again.
That water, man. And then you get the groups meet, the Patelli family.
Yes, like in the hall, and like see, because Chunk initially doesn't want to go in, and then he looks in the RV and he's got bullet holes, RV, and you can see him putting
bullet holes.
and he's got dead things, Mikey, dead things. And they're sitting there and they get Mikey Mouth does the whole pina colada tortellini, like saying a it's going to be served tongue, and then for some reason squeezes her cheek and his tongue comes out, and it's like, so for all my childhood I thought if someone squeezed me cheeks my tongue would come out of my mouth, so I was like, no.
She went after that scene, she nearly broke down. She hated how hard that she had to push on his face, and then when he stuck his tongue out she got really worried. But it really works with the scene, like, because it's Mouth, like, his expressions are brilliant. He's cocky, yet that cockiness sure does fade away when she grabs a hold of his face.
Yes. And then, as you said, we're introduced to the other, shall we say, the douchebag of the piece, Troy, in the car with Andy and Steph.
Yes.
And you see poor Brand driving down the street on what
little girl's bike.
Yeah, which must have been the most uncomfortable thing to ever ride. It probably would have been easier for him to... His
knees must have knocked him.
Yeah. And I'm not even going to acknowledge Amanda now because she's annoying us. So
I haven't got the chat open.
She's saying the Goonies sucks, so I'm not on her.
Amanda, you can get off. Today's a special day. It's Paul's Day.
But yes, and then Troy, like, say, sends Brandon off to his certain doom. Like, I don't know how he survived the accident. Because he
just guns into the abyss.
Just flies off and you think, this is not going to end well. But then, as you said, when they get to the whole restaurant and stuff like that, Brandon meets the kids after we are introduced to the hero of the the piece, shall we say, the hero of the film, Sloth, which is portrayed as a bit of a monster, which, again, in today's political society isn't, I would say, politically correct. But my argument to that would always be, it wasn't saying that every human being treats people that way. It was just how bad this family was, that it treated a human being, doesn't matter what they look like, in a way that wasn't correct. So it's
absolutely, there's signs in there, and again comes from one of my favorite quotes of all time, is the Francis Toupee one. Mm-hmm. They were a family. They're still, like, for all that Sloth might have looked a bit different than the rest, they were still family. And that line where he says, we use the money to spend, sorry that we use the dental money to pay Francis's toupee, I don't wear a hairpiece. It's one of my favorite lines of all time.
As he's taking off the hairpiece.
I still quote it today.
But like I say, that whole interaction between the Fratellis and stuff like that, when they're in there and they're talking, like I say, in kind of broken Italian to each other to try and get things. But then, as you said, they leave the restaurant and wait out for the Fratellis to leave before they can sneak back in. And the only reason Brandon lets them do it is because he wants to spend a little time with Andy. So
yeah, he's thinking about his D more than anything else in that scenario. It has nothing to do with the fact that he potentially could be going on one of the biggest adventures of his life. Mm-hmm. He just thinks he's going to get some.
Yes. And then, like I say, we get a few of the jump scares, like the fish on the rake is always, like say, a well-timed piece. But when they go downstairs and they're hunting down and they're trying to find, like, the gateway, and Mikey's trying to smash everything up and nearly break his hands by hitting things with metal rods. But again, it's done in a way which is not... It's simplified but cleverly done. Where Chunk, being the accident-prone person he is, he breaks the water bottle and they follow the water. And by doing that, they find the gateway into One-Eyed Willie's rich stuff. Yeah,
but we also lose Chunk at this point.
Yes, because he thinks with his tummy and gets all excited by the ice cream. And again, we get introduced to the Stiff, which is the FBI.
It's a Stiff. There was rumours that was real. Because Steven Spielberg has the whole thing with Poltergeist, and people were like, that was real. And it's like, no, that is an actor. That person is very much alive.
Very true. But that hole was so small as well. Would you have gone down there? Because I know I'd have had a bit of trepidation. I know.
Me now, nah. Nah, but me as a kid, 100% mate, I have no fear. Mm-hmm. That's probably one of my biggest downfalls as a child. I generally had no fear.
Yeah.
I am the person who would walk down a dark alley with headphones in and think absolutely nothing of it. Wouldn't do that now. But so back as a kid, I would have done it.
Yeah. And that's when basically it all started, and you hear like the music and stuff starts playing, like say that type of tune, because you knew something with Spielberg, like having these fingers in, and especially Richard Donner, like say, massively used music all the way through his career to emphasise points. You knew that was going to be a bit special. And again, we do get the famous line as well, $50 bill, when Data gets
$50 bill at the printing of a $50 bill.
And he's get, we're all going to go to jail. No, it's get all the scary parts and stuff. But then, as you said, they start going through the tunnels and the booby. Was it the booby traps?
Booby traps. It's a booty trap. No, it's a booby trap.
That's what I said. Booby traps.
I love how they correct these English as well, but it doesn't matter. It's not that far off. They still correct these English, even though it's perfect.
But that's what friends used to do. Like, we still do it now. Like, say, when we're in the chat and stuff and we say something wrong, we torment each other. Like, say, it's
true.
Like the friendly banter where you could kind of get away, where it wouldn't be acceptable, like in polite society, just to walk up to them and say that.
Oh no! But if you know someone well enough, and I think it was just a wind up technique on their behalf. But I always found these English very cute.
But then throughout this, you kind of got the elements of basically. I kind of think this is more Temple of Doom. So
Yes.
So from now, we're pretty much just like say you are in an Indiana Jones film, from like the boulders fallen, very reminiscent of basically Raiders of the Lost Ark, and they find the candles, which is dynamite, and then again you find the key to One Eye Willie's thing, and you find out that Chester Copperpot was there, and he died.
Yes,
and that is
we
the
see him.
Yep, and that is the first element where the Goonies start to doubt themselves that they couldn't do this. Because
but then they realise that even if they take one step further than where they are right now, they've getting further than what he ever did.
And he knew.
Exactly. And so that's the turning point in the film where they start to really, we might actually survive this.
But then you get the whole thing with the pipes, where the pipes have been inlaid through, like say.
That is such a good scene.
Where they kind of like skip by it and mess it up a bit, and you see like above when the pipes are like, I don't know why he keeps hold of the thing and starts. It's
because you've got to press it. In order to get water, you have to press it. So he's like still got his finger. You would just let go. You would let go, but he really does have his finger on it, and he's going up and down with it. But yes, you would. A normal person would just let go. But to see Troy,
yes,
that's beautiful.
On the toilet, Andy. That's the wrong bit. That was
that's in the water. That's in the well, isn't it?
That was the well when he shouts, "Daddy!"
That's it.
Yes. And when they're in the shower, all the things kind of explode around them as well. And again, like I said, like not big lines in the movie, but ones that kind of like resonate or stayed with us is when like they move the rocks and stuff. When Steph goes to them, that God put that rock there for a purpose, and don't know if you should be moving it. And then they move it, and all the bats come out, and then when they're going up, it's basically Chunk getting interrogated after he's been caught by the Fratellis, because I know we've jumped a bit where the car comes and he's trying to tell them about these bad guys, real mean son of a bitches. And
then he starts singing Italian That is so creepy. Like, there's no reason for it.
But it's just the way the light goes on, you see his face, and again, probably not the most polite thing to say, but he, like, with him having the pop marks and stuff, it was so scarred up, and the way the light hit
his face is incredibly textured, so it's terrifying to look at.
And to see Chung's face in absolute terror, to look at it and just to realise that he was in trouble, and then you've got his other brother Francis coming from behind trying to put Chunk in the car, and then
he's still singing.
It's good, Mamma Mia, like type thing, but Chunk's like sitting up going, fighting it off. But
such a great physical comedy actor. Like it's a shame he didn't go on and do more, because his physical comedy in that film was just top notch. The interrogation scene when he's telling them he doesn't know what he's actually confessing to, so he's just confessing to everything, and the sick bit.
Yeah, it's good. I felt so bad I vomited. Then everyone else vomited, and all you hear was, I've never felt so bad. It was a very Stand By Me moment, that one.
It's so brilliant, though. The fact that the innocence of him, he has no idea what he's actually having to confess to, so he just thinks, all right, then we'll go through the list of every bad thing that I've done.
But then you get terrified as well, because they're going to blend his hand.
Yeah, that's right. That's another thing ITV wouldn't show you.
Yes, no, they cut that bit up. But like, see, when they're pulling it towards and he's going, no, then the bats come through and explodes. Because it was the line that she used, pure eyes. And that's when the bats zoomed out and everything started kicking off. And you got Francis saying, hide your hair. And he takes his wig off and puts it in his pocket.
Yeah, you don't see any of that on the ITV one.
But like I say, that's leading up to like the fountain and the famous speech, because we got two big memorable moments in the fountain. Yeah. The one with Mouth, which is heartbreaking about because Steph's telling them not to take the people's wishes. So
that, just before we get into the sentimental part, the funniest quote that me and Michaela still do today is from that scene, and it starts with Martin Sheen.
Right.
Martin Sheen? It's President Kennedy, you idiot!
Well, he played a president once.
Same difference. Megan McKellar just but it has to start. If anyone says Martin Sheen, that's where it starts from. It is so great, and the fact that it came from Malcolm Steph as well, like.
Because that was kind of like the building of that little relationship there as well.
That wasn't, for me, I never felt that was romantic. That was brother and sister. I never saw a romance between them two. One, that she's far too old for him, and two, he's far too short for her. And
stop being shortest now.
I just felt brother and sister. She was protective of him. She knew, and especially on the back of that scene that you were going to go into with the wishes.
Yeah,
that's where she feels that she needs to protect him. He needs protecting. It's all a facade. It's all fake. It's just to hide his true emotions.
Yeah. And then you get, like, as you said, the speech when he says, "This was my wish. I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back." It just makes you think, what was his wish?
He's so vulnerable in that moment. That's when the change of Steph, because Steph gives him a hard time, like a sister would, and then it flips, and she's nothing but protective of him because she realizes it's just a facade. He's not really this person that he makes out to be. He to her, it's like, oh shit, he has feelings. Like, I didn't realize that he could have feelings, and that's where this is why I never get a romantic feeling from them two.
But I would always love to know what his wish was, though.
Probably to be, I don't know,
to be a bit taller, be a baller. But rather than that.
I wish I was fast enough to remember the lyrics. But no, that's it though. You don't need to know. Like, it's nice that it was that was his wish, and you'll never know if it was. You don't know what Mouth's life is like outside of his friends.
Yeah. No.
Because his comedy comes from somewhere. Everyone's comedy comes from somewhere.
Yeah, and that's when they have the choice to escape through Troy's bucket as well. And I think I wasn't the only one. I was screaming at them not to get on that bucket.
No.
Best
decision they ever made.
Yeah, and like I say, it's the speech that you get from Mikey as well. Now again, I'll try and reenact this one because it is one of my favourite ones. When he's looking away and he's because he's like. Because I'm sure it's one of the ones where it says Goonies never say die, and she goes, Andy goes, "I'm not a Goonie." And he goes, Chester
I want to go home.
Yeah, Chester Copperpot. He didn't make it this far. He says, "Don't you realise next time you see Sky, it'll be over another town. The next time you take a test, it'll be at some other school. Our parents, they want the best stuff for us. But right now, they got to do what's right for them because it's their time. Their time up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here. That's all over the second you ride up Troy's bucket." And I say, I know, like I say, it's corny, it hits all the right marks, but it hits home. Like, he's right, this was their only chance. And from what they're saying as well, you can't go back. You can't, like I said, not go the full journey. You can't not see it through now. You've getting this far. You've getting further than a guy who knew exactly what he was doing. And you're past that point and you're still alive. And to go back is not just admitting defeat to yourself. It's just you give up on you've given up on something that not 10 minutes ago you were all for. Yeah. And I don't know if it was after this bit or before is when they use the skull key. And Mouth's twisting it, not Mouth, Mikey's twisting it. And the floor,
he gets his hand
stuck, and like the bowling ball goes round. Like, what's going to happen? But it's like opening up a door, but it's the one where Data falls.
Yes.
And he uses the
teeth.
The teeth. And he kind of saves himself and bounces away from the spikes at the bottom, which again he must have some industrial and strength springs and stuff like that to be able to do it.
The majority of the stunts in this are absolutely impossible, but the great scene, just to go back to the well after Maggie's done that speech and she sends her jacket up to Troy, is just like Oh, you have that, Troy.
Andy, you Goonie.
Yes, she is.
And that's what
100%. She's in it from that moment on.
Yeah, that's
and this is where you see a change in Andy as well.
Yeah, and she comes a bit more braver and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, and she's not relying on Bran to protect her, because she realizes after that speech that she's not just them, but she's getting this far.
Yeah, and then like I say that. Then after that, it's the uncomfortable bit where it's the kiss. Is it? It's good. Does Bran have braces? Oh, if you fancied someone, you know he's got bloody braces as well.
And he's bloody tiny.
It's good. I think he was sitting there, standing in some kind of hole. It's good. Kiss him next with your eyes open next time. It's a whole different picture.
Love Steph. Love the fact that she just lets it happen as well. To like our friend's just going to totally embarrass herself. It's the realization when she kisses him later and she's going, "Where's your braces?" And Bran's like, "What?"
Mikey's got braces. Dad's little. But then, like I say, after that, you get the whole slick shoes situation where
again, love that sound
when they're having to play the bones, and again, that is terrifying. And you find the notes on the back, and like say, having to play the piano to get the down, and like
it's the tremble. You can see the tremble in her hands.
Mm.
Like, that's how scared she is. Like, she knows it's really important. And me being the music nerd that I am, I remember watching this as a teenager going, I could read that.
Oh, dear.
I can't.
What was it? B flat. If you're wrong, we'll all be dead. Or we all be B flat or something like that. It's like that type of humour. But every time like she hit a bum note, you saw the smoke come out and a bit more of the floor disappear. It
was proper video game style, wasn't it?
Yes.
Like it really felt like video game. Like, oh, if you mess up, this is it. Like, no more lives. You have to start from the beginning.
But then, like as you said, when they're going over that, like the bit of wood, and as Data does the slick shoes to try and stop the Fratellis from getting next, then you get the famous boxing glove scene where he punches one of them, and you think, yeah he's done them. Yeah,
because at this point the Fratellis are on their tail, aren't they? They've managed to skip past. They've followed them from the drain and managed to skip past all of the booby traps. That everyone that they've had to face, so they're just getting an easy ride up till this point.
Certainly. And like I say, famously, like I say, there's Data with the boxing glove there as well.
And also, while this is going on, you've got that lovely friendship between Sloth and Chunk developing.
Yes, no, I forgot all about, like say, mentioning that. Ruth, baby Ruth. It's half the reason when we went into Sainsbury's once. You remember when they started stocking American sweets, and Aunt saw Baby Ruth. And he was like, I have to have one, because obviously the Goonies, he absolutely hated it. It was disgusting. It was one of them chocolate bars I've wanted from a kid, and as you said, when you got it, it was a very, very disappointing taste.
I'm sorry, Americans, but the English do chocolate better. Our Dairy Milk, our Galaxy is a lot nicer. Your chocolate is so bitter. There's something bitter about it, and it's just not my taste buds.
Definitely.
Sorry.
No, it's because they don't use milk in it as well, because they use vegetable oil, I think.
Oh, really? Is that what it is?
Because they use vegetable oil or something for their chocolate, so that's why Hershey's tastes quite a bit different to us.
Bitter. It's so bitter. That probably is why the milk's not there to balance it out. Anyways, so Sloth and Chunk are developing this beautiful friendship downstairs, where two people who would be deemed societally as outcasts.
That would be the us version of.
Yeah, and then kind of they realise they have common ground, and the fact that Sloth's Chunk's not scared of him.
Yeah,
that is so beautiful. That he takes one look at him, and when he sees him properly, because all he's seeing is shadow.
Yeah,
and shadows are scary. And when he sees him, his actual face, he doesn't flinch.
No, but I love it when you see Sloth for the first time and his little ears moving and stuff.
It's so cute. It is so cute. But yeah, they just have the start this beautiful friendship. That's you only see that briefly. You see it later on when we get to the ship and they finally the breakout happens. But yeah.
But just to talk about like the few seconds before they see the ship, that water slide, I must be.
Oh my god!
Please tell me I'm not the only one that always wanted to do that as a kid. That was so jealous of that.
That water slide, because it looked opened out, I get really bad anxiety over water slides. I do not like them at all. It's just, I'm not claustrophobic, but I don't like the enclosed space. It just, I do not like the idea of it. I have been to so many water theme parks in America and never once been on a slide. But that looked so much fun.
Mm-hmm. I was jealous because you could tell it was a slide as well because there was no bumpy bits. It was very smooth
they went like that.
Yes. But like I said, when they were going down, it looked amazing. And when they hit the water, and again, I think I've told this story as well, because the cast have said when they first saw the actual ship, they did create, actually, because if they did it now, it would be a CGI ship, but they actually built it. So when they first cast, all the kids got off the water slide and fell in the water, that was the first time they saw the ship, and they filmed it, first one take.
Right.
So that reactions is their genuine reactions.
That is absolutely awesome. I like jumping because we used to go to a lot of places as kids where there was natural water to swim in, and we would always try and find the highest point, the deepest water, and jump from the top of it. That didn't bother us. I had no fear in that. We created swings so we could jump off into the deepest part of the water. There's a place in Northumberland called Planky Mill, and it has the best natural swimming water, but the highest rocks that you can naturally climb on, and it is fantastic. And I always love jumping from high points into water. So that scene really does. I'm like, I want to do that so badly. I will endure that slide in order to do that jump.
Certainly. And then we had the most famous scene that was never in the Goonies that everyone always talks about, the octopus scene.
Wow, okay. I wanted to ask you about this because I have heard about it, but I don't know about it.
A giant octopus tried to attack them before they got on the ship. So from them coming off the slide and seeing the ship, there was a giant octopus, but I think they cut it out because they thought it got too fantastical and a bit too silly. Because if you see the clip, it is a proper fake octopus. It looks shit.
Yeah.
But that was one of the ones that everyone always talked about, because it does get mentioned in the film, at the end. Because when they're talking to the news reporters when they get on the beach and they're giving a story of everything, because everyone, as I said, with Chunk being the ultimate in shall we say Jack and Ori, with some of the stories he used to tell.
Oh right, is that what Chunk's saying at the end?
He's saying the pirate ship, and he was saying we got attacked by an octopus. You just thought, was he embellishing it? But no, there was an octopus in the water that attacked them.
But you kind of get away with it because Chunk is a bit of a...
When he's telling the story about Michael Jackson and visiting his toilet. But he says, but it wasn't Michael Jackson, but his sister did. But which was it? Was it LaToya? Was it Janet?
Exactly. But no, I'm quite glad they took that out, because then that gets into the mystical side, and we didn't need that. It was already a swashbuckling adventure. It didn't need that extra element in it.
Yeah. Wow.
So I'm glad they took it out.
No, it adds a bit to the mystery as well. But as you said, when you get out the water and on the ship, everything that's made there is practically done, and it's done in a way that, to be honest, most of these films was done amazingly well.
Can I just take a second? Can you just talk to the chat just a second? My HelloFresh is literally being delivered, and they've left it outside, and I don't want people nicking me week's food. So if you could just talk to the chat just a minute, I'll be back. Okay?
No problem. That's fine. So is anyone still in the chat there? Like I say, I know Laura said hello earlier. Jake, you were messaging before. Have you got any questions you want to ask us about the Goonies, or anything that you want to know about, before we start getting to the end part of the Goonies? I don't know if you guys have any love, or what was your, shall we say, favourite elements of the Goonies? If anyone is there. I don't think anyone's watching at the moment that want to chat. Just to reiterate, say, as aspects of the Goonies, elements to it. Like I said, with this, I do believe there wasn't too much wasted energy when it comes through the film. Everything was used and used well. Like I say, especially with the cast. But yes, she's back. She's back again.
Sorry, they left it in the hallway. They normally leave it outside on the front step, so anyone can walk past and nick me food.
Oh dear. Well, Jake's just asking the chat, what's your favourite Goonies rip-off? Like a similar type of thing. Probably not similar, but pirate related. Cutthroat Island with Jaina Davis. And how Goonies feel.
Goonies feel for me is anything with Stephen King and children. I get the same vibes from it. Yes. But Stephen King liked to have 4 kids as opposed to a group of.
Stand By Me, like jumps out.
The first part of Dreamcatcher.
Yeah, even the first part of It. The first It Part 1.
Yeah.
That has a very Goonies vibe to it. Breakfast Club, again, different type of adventure, but like I say, it's about friendships being formed and that way.
It's about identities being established as well. And I think if you get, especially with like Andy goes through that transformation because she's known as this ditzy cheerleader, and by the end of it, she's no longer that person anymore. Her true identity is being found, and you find that in the Breakfast Club as well. Like, these people have no idea who they are until they find a group of people who, again, have no idea who they are.
Probably the big one, just because probably the actors in it, the Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Like I said, friendships.
It's Corey Feldman.
But having that whole thing, as I said, finding your identity, Michael becoming, like I say, not just a part vampire, but like grown as a bit of, because he was a bit of a teenage.
I always thought that David, Kiefer Sutherland's character, is the same one from Stand By Me.
Possibly, he looks the same. Yeah.
It's just that he has the same attitude as well. Like, I just thought he got turned into a vampire later on down the line, and that's why you got David.
Certainly, and again, it's one of them things where you're just waiting for someone to join to your cheap dime store hood. But, Jake's just mentioned Gravity Falls is a good Goonies. I've never seen Gravity Falls.
No, I've never heard of it. Sorry, Jake. You are talking to the wrong person when it comes to films.
Gravity Falls is a cartoon, I believe. It's on Disney.
Oh,
Plus.
Is it?
But I think it's more about like camping and stuff like that. But again, I could be wrong. I might delve into that now. I
just think anything with young children, not young children, that sounds terrible, but anything with young adults, in an adventure-like state is always going to have. That's why like Stranger Things works so well. It just has the nostalgia effect of what we loved about the 80s. We love the fact that these people had like proper bona fide friendships.
Yes, and Donna's pointing out that she liked him more in Lost Boys, but that's because you probably fancied him, Donna, because you're a vampire.
Oh, Donna who didn't? Like, he's just, the man's beautiful. He ages so well. I get it. Totally get it. Which part we're up and doing the film? They're on the ship.
We're on the ship now. So the only thing that did kind of confuse us a little bit on the ship is why they all get really angry at Mikey about not finding the treasure. Like, see, he'd got them this far. He'd proven his ship was there, and they were getting really like arsey with him, saying, "Where's the treasure, Mikey? Where's the rich stuff?" It's like, that's
like at this point, you're there on your own accord. You had the opportunity to leave on that bucket. You then have no right to have a go at Mikey because something didn't quite pan out. You are just as responsible as what he is.
And then we got the famous scene of them breaking up the hatch to One-Eye Willie's, like I said, closed off room, and you find the treasure, and that's when we're introduced to the man himself, One-Eye Willie, and in quite a horrifying aspect. When I don't know about anyone else, but anyone else flinch when he moved the patch back? Yes. You see that, like the socket not there.
Yeah. So, yeah, because that's a true thing that happens. You have no eyes when you go.
Yes. No, but like I say, it's not like, because when you move the patch, there's no hole. It's just skull. Oh,
that's right, because it's closed up, isn't it?
Yeah.
He lost his eye, so it wouldn't have been there in the first. Yeah, that's right.
So it kind of throws a little, because you expect, like, when you move the patch, you're just going to see a hole, but not like, say, it was like just like bone, and it was kind of really, really quite intense in a way, and the whole speech about like I say, One Eye Willie being the first Goonie and stuff like that was quite poignant and meant a lot. And Sean Astin, who again, I don't think I know he got a bit of credit when he did Lord of the Rings, but I don't think he gets his credit, as much credit as he's due for his acting, especially in this, because that whole like speech and when he's walking around, like I said, introducing the Goonies was just like I say mesmerizing. And then you've got like I say Brandon coming up and just he's saying, "Oh, how long you were there? Long enough." What a perfect response as well from Josh Brolin. Like it had the enough there to know, like say, how much it meant to them.
Yeah, this was more than just the money for Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, it proved him right. It proved that, like I say, that he could do it, and he did do it. And then, like I said, to leave, like I said, I know they always do leave a little bit, like say, foreshadowing. So shall we say, leave that for Willie. That's Willie's stuff. It was like, oh yeah, that's another booby trap waiting to happen. And then you get so angry and feel emotionally like pissed off that the Fratellis are there on the ship and that they're going to stop them from basically saving the parents.
Yeah.
And I think, and
it's just been pointed out in the chat by Alex_Team7. The moment Mikey was with One-Eyed Willie is such a memorable and powerful moment, and it really is. That moment right there it's just true to Mikey's character.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love that scene. I think after talking about it, it's probably one of the best scenes in the film.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Like I say, you can feel the emotion in there, and that. Like I said, imagine the relief he must be going through as well. That he's saving his family, he's saving his home. He's not just his, all his friends as well.
Yeah,
something that he went on.
He did that.
Yeah, he went on a hunch, and he's kind of like say, as a Goonie, he's did that.
Yeah, he did that. Like he achieved that. He's probably been told so many times for being a dreamer that you shouldn't reach this far, and he did, and he got it. Like. That really is such a when you really look into like the character of Mikey and how he is, that is such a powerful scene. The writing in that scene and the dialogue, all of Mikey's dialogue is absolutely fantastic, and Sean Astin delivers it perfectly. But that scene alone is probably the best part of the film. I really do. I love that moment.
And then it's all taken away as soon as the Fratellis get on the ship, and even
but even then, it doesn't matter. Because he did it.
But the comedy gold comes afterwards, then as well. When, like say, they go hard with the jokes, like having mouth, like putting all the jewels and everything in his mouth, and they're pulling out everything, and then just like more and more things are coming out, and she's just like, oh my god! And like when you're pulling that pearl necklace out of his mouth as well,
you can hear it. You can hear it hitting off his teeth as it's coming out. He's like trying to grip it.
But I retched thinking about it as well.
Me too.
Like all the stuff, because it must be hitting the back of his throat as well.
Yes.
And you just hear him like saying and he's spitting out more and stuff like that. So again, it's just hilarity. And then having like Steph and Andy like saying, "Oh, that looks beautiful on you" and stuff like that.
They're doing the girly thing of let's get all the tiaras and the jewels and still never would be me. I still would never. Tiara maybe, but
but then like I say, you get the whole like. When Andy punches, like say, it doesn't punch her, calls her an old witch. And so it's going to, I'm an old witch, am I? I'm going to make you walk the plank. And then, like I say, Bran does the hero thing and dives in after her to save her. But then you get the true hero coming down to save the world. Cheers.
No one's in my house, so no one can tell us off for me loud.
It's Super Chunk. So no, it's Super Sloth and Chunk to save the day. Captain Chunk and Super Sloth, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because
he tells you that as he's coming down.
Because he does the whole pirate thing with what he's seen on TV earlier, like flying down the sail.
I love that callback, by the way. I really love that callback to the fact that he saw it. It's Errol Flynn, isn't it?
Yes.
And he he called back that moment. I love that. I love that aspect of it, that he would retain that. And that's his superhero moment.
Yes. And then,
Love it.
And then all the Goonies do what they do is they follow like each other, jumping in the water. And Mikey's looking back, reminiscing, saying, "That's our future." And he's going, "Look, if we don't leave, we've got no future."
Yeah.
And then
this is life or death now. Like, we need to go.
And that's when Bran becomes the big brother and starts taking charge, which again he didn't do too much through the film.
Which is such a good part for Bran, because it's like he's not scared of someone else taking leadership. Like, yes, he was the biggest out of them, but he was man enough to allow his brother, or he was a brother enough to allow his brother to take charge. And for once, like, not...
Get the back seat.
Yeah, I had to take a back seat to what was actually going on. But when it's life and death, then he takes charge. Then he's big brother. Yeah. And he has to get him out. And like, it's so beautiful.
And then Data tries to kill them all by lighting dynamite.
Excellent.
Which was, like I say, such a Data thing to do, because, like I say, as he said, he collected the candles for later.
Well, what the candles?
Yes. And then, like, as I said, Sloth does the whole, like I say, memorable thing by lifting the rock up so they can get out, but he won't leave his family. And again, I think that's beautifully well done. To the point where you don't quite expect it.
No, you don't, because you think in your head that these people don't like him because of the way he looks, and I don't think that's the case at all. I think he's probably incredibly angry, and his anger is just it's overtaken his personality, and they may have been slightly scared of him, which is why they had him chained up, etc., etc. But in that moment when he decides to get them out, like.
And he's like, Sloth loves Chunk. And like I say, you see that little moment there when they're pulling through and Chunk doesn't want to leave him and he's getting dragged out through the tunnel. Again, it's heartbreaking. And then
it really is.
Yeah, and then you get them on the beach, and I don't know why the whole family's on the beach, but
there's no explanation as to why the family's there, why the town folks there, why the news reporters are there. Like, who told them to be there at that time?
No.
But as an adult, that's what I'm thinking. As a child, I couldn't give a crap.
Yeah, you were just happy that they was found, and like the news reporters were there, and like I said, the police were all there. But then, as you said, the kids came out of, like, say, the tunnel, like, say, ran towards them. Which again, if that tunnel was always there, why hadn't the pirate ship already been found? But again, we're just talking a bit of nonsense. Jake's just asked as well, which is a good point. Is there any like comics or anything? I don't believe so. I've never seen any Goonies like books.
No, neither have I. I've never seen any literature. I'm just going to Google it now while we talk about it, but I've never seen any literature, because usually this would be up the street of Dark Horse or something like that. They would pick up on this, but hang on.
Well, maybe that could be a way forward as well. Like if as we said before, we don't want like a remake or a sequel, but if they did a story like in a comic or even in, like, say, a book form as well, like the stories of the Goonies, that would be quite interesting.
There's an illustrated storybook. There's the book of the Goonies by Steven Spielberg, which looks to be from the 80s, but there's no comic reference. There's a lot of board games, but there's no. I don't see. Oh, hang on, Dark Horse. Told you. Dark Horse did one. I knew it's right up. If anyone was going to do a story of the Goonies, it would have been Dark Horse. And they did.
Definitely. But someone's just pointing in the chat as well that, like, say, the department reported the missing kids, so they were possibly looking, like, say, reporters come.
But right, well, that's fair enough. I get the fact that everyone's together. The kids have been missing for a long period of time. Why the beach?
Yeah.
How did they know they were coming out at that moment?
Yeah.
That's what I don't get. Like, I don't care, but I don't get at the same time.
But it's moving magic, like I say, it's anything.
It is. It's one of those things where you don't need to know.
Like say, a 100-year-old ship just suddenly, like say, from the booby traps decides to sail out and wouldn't sink instantly as soon as it got out of the rock. But
before the film ends, we finally get to see the fact that all of this was not for nothing. When Rosalita pulls out the marbles and finds the jewels.
No peppermint, no sign. No sign.
And we realise that the town folk are saved.
Yes. And then the Fratellis come out and Sloth assaults a police officer, but the kids decide that by putting a pizza box in front of them that they shouldn't be arrested.
Shield him! Shield him!
Shield him with a pizza, but that's how I would like to go, be shielded by a pizza.
Yeah. And the fact that Sloth's like Chunk's like, you're coming home with me now.
Yeah, you're going to live with me because I love you. And then
so beautiful.
Then Andy gives Mikey the uncomfortable conversations in, hey kid, if you keep kissing girls like that, you're going to make someone very happy one day.
Poor Mikey. It's his mum's face. His mum looks mortified.
And then he throws away his inhaler and someone else needs it now. It's like, okay, so an adventure can cure asthma. Great.
Let me get on this one then. Let's go.
So that is basically a play-by-play of like the
Goonies.
Goonies.
Wasn't that such a good way of doing it though? Because it kind of like you're not jumping in, you're not going backwards and forwards over like the film. You talk, yeah, exactly. You're just talking it in a straight line. And I love the fact it helped me break it down a bit better because I knew where we were at in that moment.
So you can go back and like reminisce and think, I'm in this now.
Yeah, exactly. I loved how we did that. That was really fun. And I love the interaction that we're having in the chat at the moment.
Oh, it's always good. I didn't expect many people to be in the chat, to be honest, with it being during the day.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for joining us. I like that. Doesn't ask his parents' permission. Sloth's just living with him now. Absolutely. Like, who's going to argue the fact that Sloth's come to live with him?
Probably just does the truffle shuffle in front of them and they're just mesmerised.
I think Chunk's the kind of person who did get his way a lot. He looked like a very spoiled child.
Definitely. That's why like, they probably hung about him at first because he used to get all the cool things and stuff. Yeah, like one of these kids.
Essentially, he is the cool kid of the group. Like, because he got all the stuff.
Definitely. But...
It's better. Oh, Jake, man. Better than Sloth going into a home. It's true, Jake. It's true.
Yes, very good point. But I'm going to do this because I'm going to do this on all of them. So out of 5, what would you rate this film?
5.
See, it'll be a 10 for me. It's not even in the.
Oh no! You said out of 5. You cheated.
It's better than a 5. Yeah.
However many points I can give, I will give all of them because this film is just sheer perfectness. It's reminiscent of childhood. It's friendship. It's adventure. It's the scenery is beautiful. Like not even just like talking about the story itself. The scenery, how it's shot is beautiful. The sets that are used, the costumes that are worn. It is just. It's 80s personified that will continue on throughout generations.
Definitely. And it's one of them things, as you said, that's the key point, generations. This is a movie that will be passed down from parent to kid to grandson, all that type of...
Like, it'll go to my nephews, like, it's a film that needs to be, it will be passed on.
But it's one of them things that you always have to, like, you would always remember, like, the experience of watching the Goonies with someone that's never watched it before. I know there's a few adults I've talked to that said they've watched it for the first time when they've grown up, and it's not really had the same impact as well. But I don't think they kind of got it, if that makes sense. It got the elements to it, or got the reasons why it means that much to us as well. It's as you said, it's a happy film.
It is a happy film. Nothing sad about this one.
Yeah, there's certain films that you can go back to and you'll always like reminisce, like Back to the Future, Home Alone. Them are like the key classics that you can pass on to your kids and move on. And I'm forever, like, as anyone like say would be happy, I can talk about the Goonies with anyone and why I like the Goonies. But I love watching people experience it for the first time as well, and their experiences and how it can make friends or anything like that. But
it started a whole friggin' group, didn't it?
Definitely. No, that's the thing. It started a movement, the Goonie cult. That's what we're going to be called, like later in the down the line. The Goonie cult.
That's what you want to be called. The Goonie cult. I like that one. So if we are done, we should be saying our thank yous.
Yes. So thank you, Richard Donner. Thank you, Stephen Spielberg.
I meant our thank yous to our new members who've subscribed to the YouTube channel over the last week or so. Not just our new members, but our old ones as well. Thank you for sticking with us, and thank you to all the new people who've subscribed and show your support, even if it's just by pressing that button. Like, thank you so much.
Thank you for following me. Ha ha ha. It's sinister. But yes, as we always say, we've always like overwhelmed when people do watch us. We don't think we are entertaining in any way. We just like have a laugh and talk about these type of things.
Yeah, we do this for us, by the way. This is not for you. We do this for us. Hence the reason why we're talking about the Goonies today.
But as I said, we've got a lot of things going on now, so it is getting exciting. Like Sunday's episode, it's books to movies, and then like I say, we've got other things, but we are going to try and fit like the odd special episode in when we can. I know, like I said, planning this and stuff, it does take time, so it's always nice when we can break down or get an extra hour or two to do it.
I love the Sunday shows because it's all of us, it's family, but I also love these little moments where it's just me and Paul, and it just like, I don't know, it's almost like a reignition of passion. Like a reignition of passion. Like, I love doing postful episodes. It's been I can't even remember the last time we did this. I really can't. I want to say Jurassic Park, and it's only because someone mentioned it the other day in the chat.
Yeah,
I was talking about the Jurassic Park episode, and I genuinely think that might have been the last one we did together.
I can't remember.
Right,
but we still haven't pissed each other off enough there. Sorry, I think I only swore 4 times during that, so I think I've done well.
I don't even think it was that long. I think it was only twice. I think I did more than you. I'm very impressed. Daytime podcast suits you.
Child friendly, but yes.
Child friendly, but yeah. So this Sunday is, what did you say, books to film. We've got the Twitch channel, which tomorrow is going to be a good night.
So if we can all arrange it, we'll be doing ghost hunting again and seeing Jake run away and leaving us again.
It's always fun. So yes, we also have the Twitch channel. We've got Charlotte's Book Club, which is Charlotte doing the same theme as the episode of the podcast?
I can't remember this time. Like I say, I'll have a word with like Charlotte. I know she's probably out and having fun, like having normal life at the moment. And like I say, we'll see what that is.
Yeah, see what that theme is. There's a Facebook group.
Yes, kind of. It's only a small one, so don't worry about that. Just over 5,000.
Oh my God, I'm so modest, so humble, so modest. Yeah, there's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, which is run by the lovely Laura, which Paul hates because he doesn't understand it.
Guys, I'm old. What can I say? But yes, I know we are going to try and fit in the Exorcist episode in soon. I know other people, like say, have talked about doing certain films or TV shows. I know it'll be quite interesting. We've got till the 1st of July now to wait till Stranger Things finish, and then we'll be blasting through an episode on that. I think Laura and Amanda said they would be interested in doing a Friends episode. So
that'd be interesting.
That'd be interesting, singing I'll Be There For You. And finally getting Amanda to break her podcast cherry as well.
Yes, get the troll on here. Only her words today, mind. That were her words. I love the girl dearly.
The vampire as well. But yes, and we'll probably have Starfleet's own Goodwill returning at some point as well. And I think Martin's coming back soon to do not Goonies. He's not getting that. Gremlins.
Gremlins.
Yes. So we're getting all the little monsters. But yes. Same bat time, same bat channel, guys.
Stay nerdy, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.